Is this thing on? Hello, idiots, and welcome back. It's a beautiful day in Kellyland. It's been a little while since we've talked. You know, life's been busy. It's summertime now, mid-July, so everybody's getting busy with their families and stuff. But we got a project for you today, so stay tuned.
Hey there, how are you? Hello, welcome back.
We are in here today working on this beautiful girl. Tomorrow is Midwest Diesel Society's Diesel Showdown in Humboldt. If you have been with the channel for a while, you know that Dash and I went up there last year and just spectated. And it was a really cool event, and it looks like it's probably grown a lot since last year. They've got a dyno competition planned, as well as dirt drags this year. And they've been just marketing the heck out of it, so there should be a pretty good turnout. Originally was going to go up there and spend the whole weekend and try and compete in all the classes and camp up there, but I don't think that my transmission is probably going to survive that. This thing has seen quite a few clutch dumps / kicks. The old greasy NV 4500 up there. It was before the channel. This used to be an automatic truck, and we swapped it to a 5-speed for more of like towing duty and maybe sled pulling, but now we're thinking we're going to move more towards drag racing side of things. So I've been pinching my pennies saving up for a built automatic, and this transmission and clutch have got to last until that happens. I'm not interested in replacing a clutch or an input shaft. We're still on stock input shaft, and this transmission has like 250,000 miles on it. The truck that it came out of had more miles than mine does, so we're probably gonna skip out on the racing side of things, but I do want to get it on the dyno. I don't think we're gonna win any trophies, but it would be neat to just do it for the first time and see what the truck's actually making. So today we are getting this thing ready to drive up there. It's about a 3-hour drive, and then to run on the dyno. We're just gonna change fuel filters because I've been dropping fuel pressure when I pull on it. We're going to change the oil, just check on all the other fluids, grease some stuff up. I was going to try and pinch back the wastegate and loosen up the AFC some, but it's set in really good now to where I can drive it around smoke-free when I want to. And I hate to go messing with that because it took quite a bit of tinkering to get it to that point. So, not on the kill tune for the dyno, but we should get some pretty good numbers. I think it's $100 for 3 passes. So we should get a pretty good idea of what it's making. We'll get these maintenance items out of the way and maybe go over what we've got for performance mods for those of you that are new, and then probably test drive it to town and get it topped off with diesel and get it cleaned up a little bit. So yeah, whatever. I already did an intro, I guess, but go get a beverage. It's like it's 2 o'clock on Friday. If you're off work, then hell yeah, grab a beer. I might even have one. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this oil draining. As you might know, these Cummins engines take 3 gallons of oil, and I wanted to show you this contraption down here. This is nothing new. I got it from Gino's Garage website. They got a lot of good Cummins parts, but it's a drain valve. When I got this thing, the threads were boogered up on my oil pan, and rather than keep fighting the threads with the drain plug, I ordered one of these in, and that way you don't have to mess around with any drain plugs, don't have to get your hands dirty. You just open the ball valve. It's got a little spring-loaded contraption to keep it from getting accidentally open. Oil's looking pretty dark, but no water or nothing in there that I can see. So that is good news. go up and get the oil filter changed and then start on these fuel filters. This thing hasn't run for a few days, so that oil filter should be most of the way empty. These oil filters are really easy to change on these. While they're showing me where it's at, but I can't remember if I can get to it without taking my air cleaner off. Running the Napa Golds on this old girl. I'm pretty excited to see what this thing makes. Hopefully I don't get my feelings hurt, but it seems to keep up with Tyler's 6.7 halfway decent, so it should be pretty close to the goal. I don't know what He-Man put this filter on, but the original goal was just for it to be able to keep up with stock tuned newer trucks. So the more modern trucks stock with tuning. I'm hoping it's between 400 and 500 horsepower. The more the merrier, but we'll likely be changing it up here soon anyway, so if we made our goal, that's awesome. If not, hopefully we'll make the next one. I gotta tell you guys that don't have one of these trucks, and the ones of you that do have them know, they're just so easy to work on. Standing beside the truck, I didn't have to take anything out of my way. We got the oil filter off. A little bit of a mess, but that's fine. They're just so easy to work on. Everything's easy to get to, easy to reach, comes apart good. Oil's even still got some viscosity in her, that's all right. Yeah, we'll get the new oil filter on there and maybe go over some stuff. That oil's still draining. It drains really slow out of that valve, but it's pretty handy. It's worth it. So the build on this truck is nothing spectacular. It's probably what most 12 guys end up doing at first. A little bit of injector, a little bit of pump work, but we got 5x12 injectors from Ducky Fuel Injection. We've got 025 delivery valves from Power Driven Diesel. We got no fuel plate, and the AFC is modded for full rack travel. We've got a Mac rack plug in the front of the pump to get a little bit more rack travel. See, we're running 22 and a half degrees of timing. We got 60-pound valve springs with upgraded locks and retainers. We got power driven, I think they're stage 2 push rods. ARP 2000 head studs. I think that's about it for performance. We got our Big Hoss Savage Fab Super 9 over there. It's a 60 millimeter billet compressor with a 67 millimeter turbine in a 9 centimeter undivided housing. It's been treating us really well. Those videos aren't that old. Maybe most of you guys have seen them, but makes all kinds of cool noises. Fantastic turbo, especially for like your fun daily driver or something that tows. It lights pretty quick. It does seem like it's kind of slowed down just with some of my tuning and stuff. It doesn't light as quickly as it used to, probably from the timing. But once it does light, it comes on really hard and strong, and it's a lot of fun. Keeps EGTs in check pretty well for like single gear pulls, but for like a 0 to 100 run, you'd still be pretty toasty at the end of that. But that's gonna happen with most turbos. We got our poor man big honking air filter intake, giving us plenty of air. I wish I had a new one of them to throw on, but to be honest, we'll probably just take the air filter off if we get to the dyno anyway. The transmission is a stock NV4500. Fifth gear's been welded, and we've got a 13-inch single disc Val Air clutch. It's rated for like 425 horsepower.
which is where I hopefully am right around there. And I'm not very nice to my clutch. I see it as a wear item, and so I use it to make my life easier. And I like to rev the truck up and dump it and do burnouts, which we still haven't gotten on camera. But yeah, it's probably pretty tired. I think while I'm standing here, I'm going to check on these here catch cans. Well, last time we pulled it off, it was completely dry. This time it's got just like a little bit of oil built up in the corner. That is the middle one, so that's coming off of these valve covers right here. That's pretty darn reasonable yet, I'd say. That is the front one, so it comes off the crankcase and it is completely dry, just like last time. I'll get this other catch can checked and check back in with you. Alright, that catch can was empty too. We'll get her tightened back up here. The only other thing I thought of that I forgot to mention is we're running 4K governor springs. So the truck should be able to rev to 4,000 RPM. But this is a 95 and it was an automatic, so it's got a 160 horse injection pump, which is the lowest flowing of the P pumps. And I can't tell you exactly what it is that makes them this way, but they have like a built-in defueling problem. Even though I have 4K governor springs, when you're under a really heavy load, it usually will only rev to like 3,500 RPM, and then it just falls right on its face after that. Every once in a while it'll get up to 3,700 or something doing a burnout, but I'm sure if I revved it in neutral it would probably go to 4K or beyond, but that's not really something I'm interested in doing. The guy that I bought the parts truck off of for this, to get the transmission, actually the reason that truck got parted out was from revving it up in neutral. Caused the cam gear to walk off the cam, and so then the valve train was out of time with the engine and bent all the valves, put indents in all the pistons, and it was not a good deal. So this transmission lived a pretty hard life before I got it. That's why I'm a little untrusting with it. Hey, there's a nice piece of bark there, bud. Woo! So up under here, we've got our fast lift pump. I don't know if I can get. What on earth? Ain't really any room for a good shot of it. Alright, we got a fuel water separator here. If you didn't know this, you don't have to buy Fast and Air Dogs filters. They are high quality, but if you don't want to have to wait or whatever, Napa or O'Reilly's or whoever you got usually has something comparable that you can throw on there. I will say though, when you're cross-referencing filters, ask the guy at the parts counter what micron he's giving you. Just because they have a filter that'll thread on here doesn't mean that it's actually going to do as good of a job, like I said, as the manufacturer's filters. Okay, I'm going to leave that fuel filter a little loose because this is usually kind of a pain in the dick to get primed after changing them. I'm sure there's some trick on the internet for how to do it. I have yet to learn it. What I usually have to do is keep that water separator tight and just loosen up this fuel filter until it starts squirting out. I imagine it's filling right now. The pump's working a little bit. Can't hear it. You can hear there it just sucked down, and there we've got our primed filter. You can hear the motor loading down some more as we fill up the fuel line. Thought it sounded like it sprung a leak there, but it must have just been the overflow valve. I'm still running a factory overflow valve for right now. Once we go to bigger ejectors, I imagine I'll have to do a different overflow valve because we'll start dropping fuel pressure again, even with the big Haas pump on there. Right now, we got a single battery that's been sitting here for a few days, 38 pounds of fuel pressure. Looks like the oil's done draining, so I'm going to get cleaned up here with some canister in a can. Get that valve shut and we can get her topped off with oil. Probably grease some U-joints. Check the diff fluid, tranny fluid, transfer case. None of them are leaking, so they should be good. But we'll take a look at them and we'll be ready to run to town. Got the good old Shell Rotella T4 1540 going in here today. And I just spilled it all over the place. Excellent. I don't know if this is good oil or not. Some people swear by it, other people say it's garbage, but it's cheap. And it's what they had the other day at Menards when I happened to just be over there. There for a while, it got kind of hard to find 1540 in town. That's if you've seen, that oil filter was a K&N, just because that's the only one that I could find there for a little while. Supply chain shortages and whatnot. There's 1 gallon. I've always been a firm believer in it doesn't matter what oil you use as long as you change it. From all the vehicles I've done oil changes on so far, it sure seems like that is a thing. I don't care if you use parts store house brand oil, as long as you're changing it proper intervals, you're all right by me. They're supposed to take 3 gallons, but both of my trucks, if you just jam 3 gallons in there, they're going to be about a quart over full. So I don't know, even after starting them up and filling the oil filtralis. So there, I haven't started the truck yet, and it is about a quart overfilled. So hopefully get the oil filter filled up, and we should be good to go. That's the old girl right there. She looks small, but it's quite a bit bigger than the old HX35er. Factory HX35. Nice shiny wheel. Got a little bit of play, the up and down, side to side range, but no more than what it had when it was new. There's actually a gap in there on the wear surfaces or whatever that gets filled with oil when the truck is running. So it's okay for them to have some side to side play, up and down play. You just don't want them to have any in and out play, which this one has 0. Spins pretty good. So yeah, health checkup almost complete. Alright guys, we just finished up checking the rest of the fluids. I did top off the brake fluid. Transfer case, both diffs, transmission were all good, and the fluid looked good yet. There we go with the finger in the camera. So we're going to fire this thing up until we get oil pressure and then check the oil one more time. Make sure she's good. Check the tire pressures and then we'll scoot into town. Seems like it always does that, even though you leave the pump run and prime all the lines, it gets some air in the injection pump. It'll run funny for a little bit here. Fuel pressure fell off when we started it. This P pump will feed itself for a while. I mean, you don't want to do it while you're driving it. That's why that idle's so low. But if it don't come back around here pretty quick, we'll have to reprime that fuel pump. All right, folks, oil checks out perfect with leaving that half quart out, and we've got this fuel filter reprimed fuel pump. So that's better. We'll work the air out of it on the way to town. ladies and gentle dogs, we got her all tuned up. We're ready to go. Gave her her one and only bath for the year. She's all cleaned up. There it is. Cleaned up as good as it's going to clean up. We just filled up with some diesel. Got a 5.17 per gallon. That's fucking going the right direction, but I'm gonna scoot on over here to the grocery store and grab some giggle juice and probably head home. We'll talk to you folks at Midwest Diesel Society Diesel Showdown 2022 Extravaganza. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's Kelly here, coming at you live from Midwest Diesel Society's Diesel Showdown, Humboldt, Iowa. Got here a little early. Got to watch some of the trucks roll in. Starting to pick up now. So we're gonna get signed up for the dyno. We just got checked in, signed our waivers and stuff. Gonna hang out for a while and wait for the action to start. Stay tuned.
Hello, ladies and gents. I don't know if the footage will be before this or after it. We just laid down 517 horsepower, 990 some foot-pounds of torque. We made 3 pulls. That was our best one. I'll get a screenshot up in the video, or Jason will, I guess. But Hoon ended up showing up and got his truck on the dyno too. I think he put down a solid 460 something. Which is pretty good. But that was a lot of fun. I'm hooked now on the dyno thing. I'm gonna have to find some more of those to go to. This thing, that's the tune-up that I've been driving it around on for quite a while now. So I think if we some AFC tuning, some wastegate tuning, even with changing fuel filters, I still am only getting like 45 psi. So I don't know what's up there. I used to get like 60. So we're gonna have to do some work on that. But I think some fine tuning, we might be able to get a little closer to 540 or something on the current setup. So that's pretty impressive. I'm impressed anyway. It ain't crazy high numbers, but I would have been happy to break 400. So it's getting pretty well packed now. So I think we're going to take a cruise around and check out the show and shine. Maybe cruise through the pits and check out some of the race trucks. But then we'll get some footage. They're doing qualifying right now for all the different classes. So hang in there and we'll get you some exciting stuff.
It's 98,000 degrees outside.
What do you think, Granto? Grant's got his pants off. That's how hot it is.
Fresh diaper.
Dasher, you ready to go check some stuff out?
I guess the Peterbilt wasn't messing around this time. He runs a 976 at 75 mile an hour.
This is our buddy from last year. We got an interview with. Truck's doing good, running a similar setup.
Jeremy Stickney on the inside lane in the 2005 Dodge Ram with Jeff Crew on the outside, the 2002 Silverado.
He's been out here crushing 670 all day, all afternoon.
fender flare.
Yearly run of 688 at 108 with Jeff running a 701 at
680 and a
108.
701. You almost hit that one.
You're gonna get hit back.
Alex Buck on the inside in the Ford. Outside.
And now I'm gonna touch it back.
Curtis Holmer outside.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Kelly here. We made it home from the diesel showdown there in Humboldt. Unfortunately, it's dark over here. Unfortunately, Tyler had to leave, and then Dash, much like last year, got a tad bit unruly, and so him and Ariel had to leave. Shortly after that, Kelly's phone died, and then Kelly discovered that the power outlet, or cigarette lighter outlet, in the old Swifty 12 valve does not work anymore. So shortly after qualifying ended, I went ahead and just headed home. I got my fill of excitement for the day on the dyno and watching some of the qualifying passes or whatever, but definitely much improved from last year. Last year was great, but this year a little bit better organized, a little bit more action. There was definitely some more race trucks this year, and all the action on the dyno. They had a couple more vendors, but it's definitely an awesome venue and a really nice event. So next year, keep your eyes peeled. You might go over to their Facebook page. It's Midwest Diesel Society. I think they've also got an Instagram and a website. But give them a like or a follow, and maybe next year you can make it out. Pretty good time. We were hoping to camp and drag race today along with the dyno, and then they have dirt drags tomorrow, and they had opened the drag racing and the dirt drags up to side-by-sides as well. So there was quite a few side-by-sides running around, but that's all right. Maybe next year we can get the full experience. But we made her home in one piece. A little over 350 miles. 180 miles one way. Drove it 180 miles. Laid down 500 some horsepower for the first time ever on a dyno. Made it all the way back. I'm all right with that. This old girl's got about 180,000 miles on her. She's not pretty. She's getting a little long in the tooth, a little rough around the edges. You guys have seen, it's okay. But to have just some very basic performance mods and get on a dyno and lay down over 3 times the amount of horsepower that this truck left the factory with, she's a good girl. She's a good girl. Good Swifty truck. Yeah, she's a good girl. Yeah. But hopefully you like this video. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more exciting things. Of course, we're back in Kellyland, and there's cats everywhere. There's cats. So many cats. So many cats. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
There's a problem with